All right, Shalom. First and foremost, as always, want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahawah, HASHAM, YAHAWASHI, HASHAM, HASHAM. I want to give double honors to my apostles at Great Millstone, tell the truth. And sincere Shalom to elect out there, teaching His truth in all honesty and sincerity in these last days. Okay, give me 1 second, brothers. I'm going to get a quick sip of water. There's going to be a lot of talking in this. Yeah, and this weather, man, brother's got to up your vitamin D, okay? Especially if you live here in the Northeast, we've been getting hit with snowstorms all week, freezing cold temperatures, wind chills below zero, all that nonsense, man. So yeah, keep your immune systems up this time of year. And we don't know, when Esau Edom's gonna roll out his next strain, which it might not be the Novid at all. It might be something completely different. So, we gotta take care of our temples in these last days. But this is Davos elites plan to bomb their way to peace. WEF promises new order. Okay. And this is a clip. I could have got any one of these clips. I've been watching a few of these. Okay. And one of the ones that, Lord willing, I'm going to do a second part on is this defending truth. Okay. Because they're going to start attacking misinformation, disinformation, fake news. But it's not what is actually fake news and misinformation. It's what they consider, okay, fake news and misinformation. Okay. We saw these mechanisms put in place as far as more internet censorship, especially during the pandemic. Okay. That was like their test run. You couldn't say certain things about the 19, without your channel being flagged or the video being taken down or medical misinformation policies. And it wasn't just for YouTube, it was for pretty much all social media platforms. Okay, I'm going to play this clip. I hope it's the right one. If not, I got a couple.
The World Economic Forum or the World Elite Forum. Over 300 said elites from around the globe meeting right now in Davos this week for the World Economic Forum.
Synonymous with what? The Club of 300, right? Now, this guy's been at war. How's he get there?
Who's on the list? Well, some of the attendees include U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken, National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan, NATO Secretary Jens Stoltenberg, and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, who's already pleading for more money.
See how they got the Ukrainian flag colors? See?
To fund the war against Russia. NATO Chief Stoltenberg is hinting that he plans on ramping up weapons provisions to Ukraine, saying that this is the way to peace.
That's building. They said that's because Esau Edom is a violent man. Okay. Well, let me get the scripture. We'll go with the spirit on most of this, man. Otherwise, we'll get a list of scriptures. But Psalm 140 and 4, keep me, O Lord, from the hands of the wicked. Preserve me from the violent man. And a lot of this they're doing to target us, okay? So we're the ones speaking out against it. Because Esau Edom is a violent man. says in Psalms 17, I believe it's the 13th verse, that the wicked are his sword, okay? Who have proposed to overthrow my goings, okay? Scriptures also talk about how he, in Habakkuk, 2nd chapter, Habakkuk 2 and 5, yea, also because he transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man. And that's a proud man. Okay, he thinks that he's going to bring world peace through more bombs. Okay, the whole reason why the world is in fucking shambles right now is because you devils are in rulership. I mean, when you brothers watch some of these clips, just put in the Hill WEF, you know, or you could just watch the individual ones like I was doing, you know, like what next for monetary policy, defending truth. Okay, I also watched one where Klaus Schwab was having a sit down conversation with the CEO of Intel, and he was basically spilling the beans on AI. You know how everything's going to be, our whole lives are going to be centered around AI soon. Like, okay, but this is a very important summit, man. You know, because these elites are putting their plans out here with this World Economic Forum, man. You know, we always talk about how they want us to live in 15-minute cities and these little apartments with strangers eating bugs. Okay, everything we're going to do is going to be surveilled by AI. We're only going to be allowed to eat certain foods and, you know, have so much of everything. We're going to own nothing and be happy. Where do you think that all came from? That all came from the World Economic Forum. Okay? So that's why this is important, man. A lot of the things that they say in this World Economic Forum that they have every year, you can see throughout their whole year, those plans start to materialize, man. Manifest. Okay? There's all kinds of ruling elite in this summit. Okay? Habakkuk 2 and 5, yea, also because he transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlargeth his desire as hell and is as death. Okay? That's a hypocrite right there. Saying that he's going to bring peace, okay, by bombing the shit out of everybody. You know? By putting constant fear in people, and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations. We're going to get that clip. And heapeth unto him all people. Okay? That's part of the clip too. Gathereth unto him all nations. You had the president of Israel calling on all nations to fight terrorism, man. Okay, because he said that it affects the whole universe. He kept using that word universe out there. You know, you Edomites, and the guy was an Edomite and a half, man. I mean, he was an Edomite and a half. Okay, the president of Israel. I'm not talking about Netanyahu. Okay, I forgot the guy's name. He kept talking about the universe and how prices are going to come down throughout the universe if we deal with these terrorisms and so on and so forth, man. He's calling on the whole world, right? Chief House of Esau is calling on the whole world to do their agenda.
Is that if we want that to happen, a peaceful, just end to this war, the way to get there is more weapons to Ukraine. So the more credible we are in our military support, the more likely it is that the diplomats will succeed.
Stoltenberg tweeted yesterday, "Great to start the day in Davos by meeting President Zelensky. Despite a serious battlefield situation, there is cause for optimism. Ukraine..."
And this guy is a small hat. And so was the president of Israel, right? The least of the flock shall draw them out. Okay.
Retains its independence. Ukrainians have rejected Russia and chosen the West, and Ukraine is closer to NATO than ever before.
Forum founder Klaus Schwab also made some remarks at the meeting. Let's hear some of what he had to say.
So steeply transformative challenges, which are actually the cornerstone of our program, lead to uncertainty, generalized fear, and pessimism. They force us into a mode of short-term crisis management at the detriment of long-term strategic and sustainable solutions.
Strategic and sustainable. So that means that for right now, they're putting a delay on those long-term goals, man. Because he's going to admit that he wants to become your friend. He wants people to trust Esau Edom, okay?
This reactionary approach undermines our collective faith in the future. And
so he's basically saying, well, this shit's going on with Russia and Israel, Ukraine, okay? We're gonna hold off on you eating your bugs. Okay? But don't worry, it's still coming once we get rid of this crisis.
Here, we losing the face of our future, we risk to become much more ego-centered and on a national and individual level. To break this cycle, we need a paradigm shift. We must rebuild trust, and that's actually the theme of our meeting. We have to rebuild trust. Trust in our future, trust in our capacity to overcome challenges, and most importantly, trust in each other.
Listen to this, though. We got to trust each other now, right? We got to trust the devil now. Proverbs 29:2, and the righteous are authority. The people rejoice, but when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn. Okay? And they gave a lot of speeches about populism. Okay? How there's like a populist uprising. Well, there's a populist uprising because the people are sick of this shit, man. Okay? It says that in 2nd Ezra 9. All right, there's going to be uproars of the people. Okay? Because the people are mourning, man. Here it is. You got all these elites. All those guys at the WF are all billionaires. Okay? They're one of the largest companies in the world, but they can't give up a little of their profit, you know, to help those who help build their empires, man. You know, the workers are always getting shafted. Okay? That's always the answer to all these big companies. Lay people off. Okay? The fucking CEOs of these companies, they make more than their entire staff combined. Then the shareholders get the rest of the pie. Okay? It's a system that's failing, man. But he says just trust us.
So we covered Zelensky being at the World Economic Forum yesterday. I thought that was something to react to. Stoltenberg saying the path to peace is more weapons for Ukraine because that's the best way for diplomacy to take hold. Obviously, as we've discussed, there was a path to diplomacy very early on in the conflict, and instead we continued to, by some reports, actually scuttled those discussions. The U.S. and the U.K. did, and then continued to send weapons to Ukraine. This whole, like, Ukraine remains free is still Ukraine, that's something to celebrate. Look, of course, I don't want Russia to take over Ukraine, and in fact, Russia's goal is not to subjugate the entire country, but to claim this Russian-speaking territory. And this idea that if we only give them another round of weapons is going to make is going to lead to some diplomatic breakthrough, I think is not plausible, is not something anyone is believing at this point, but is still the top item agenda at this elites forum.
Yeah, in some way.
Yeah, these people are out their minds, man. Okay.
The speaker gave the game away when they described it as a victory that Ukraine has become closer to the West and to NATO and the IMF over time. Ultimately, that is what this proxy battle is about in the eyes of many who have a more of a global economic order worldview of what's been happening here, whether or not Ukraine was going to come further under the influence of Western monetary policy and the kind of, dare I say, a kind of coercive or even neo-colonial way of controlling other.
Small hat. I could tell. All right, just like Zelensky, he's a small hat. What's this guy's name? Stoltenberg?
Countries and keeping them within our orbit through these international monetary organizations, as opposed to.
Damn near everybody at this table is a fucking small hat, man. Look at this. Here it is, right? I was watching all these videos and they're trying to talk about diversity this and diversity that. These are all fucking Amalekites and Edomites, man. How's that diversity? It's unbelievable, man. Let me get Psalm 49 real quick. We want more opportunities for you. Psalm 49 and 11. Their inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever. Okay? And that's what the keynote of this is that their world order is threatened. And their dwelling places to all generations. They call their lands after their own names. Nevertheless, man being in honor abideth not. He is like the beasts that perish. This their way is their folly, yet their posterity prove their sayings. Salah. Because Esau Edom, especially these elites, they'll act like they want to give so-called minorities opportunities. They want to give opportunities for this. They want to, diversity this, diversity that. They were talking about that in some of these clips I was watching, man. Okay? I seen this one clip where they were talking about how was it global inequality is the number one problem with the economy. Okay, too much of the world is dirt poor, and then you have the nations that are super rich. Okay, well, the nations that are super rich are all run by these people, man. Okay, and the nations that are dirt poor because you oppressed them. Okay, you stole their resources, man, or you oppressed them and took their resources, man. All those farms out there in Central and South America, all those mines in the African nations. Okay, yet they act like they're here to help you. Okay, we're gonna help you get out of global poverty when we're the ones that put your ass there in the first place. Just like it says in Habakkuk 2:5, but gathereth unto him all nations and heapeth unto him all people. Okay. Then there's Psalm 83, okay, which we could get into.
Adopting a more Eastern-looking Russian focus here. And it seems like the victory in the eyes of these folks is whether or not NATO remains Western aligned, regardless of whether...
Are any of them Edomites, or any of them small hatters, or any of them working in sweatshops? Okay. Are any of their kids working in such sweatshops? Talking about global inequality.
not that's substantively in the interest of the people of Ukraine, or whether they would have democratically voted for that kind of a trajectory. And so there's something very telling about that speech when they say, well, however many hundreds of thousands of Ukrainians are dead, they started recruiting old men and women to the army. They're facing...
Yeah, it's over. It's over, okay? They're recruiting old men and old women to the army. What's next? Once the weapons run out, they're going to have to bring NATO in. Okay? That's when things can get very interesting very fast.
The hardest part of the winter right now, with funds having dried up for the United States of America, and they're in no better bargaining position than they were a month after the war. But hey, the elites can still claim a victory because at the end of the day, their system of economic dominance remains intact.
Yeah, and look, if a substantial portion of Ukraine, like there's nothing, states themselves are not sacred. If there's a substantial portion of Ukraine and its government that wants to be more Western focused, wants to be more NATO, European Union aligned, and that's what they want, then they should have that. They absolutely have that right. They should have that right to self-determination. And if there's part of the country, again, these are arbitrary lines that got redrawn 100 times, and there's part of the country that wants to be Eastern-focused, is Russian-speaking, is Russian culturally, and wants to be with Russia. There's nothing, again, sacred about the literal boundaries of the country. That seems like a better outcome for everyone. No one should be forced to share a political space with people they...
Unless you're one of these major parties, whether you're the United States or whether you're Russia, and your view is that you're losing ground and you're losing members of your coalition by allowing some portion of the world to actually engage in self-determination. I mean, we're seeing these kind of battles all over the world. We see it with the people of Mali finally ousting.
Called for a new world era, I believe. Let's watch some of that.
That order seems to not be the order anymore. We are on the way to a new order, so we are between orders.
Now, I think of this a little bit more about a transition of...
Well, the next order is going to be the order of YAHAWAH, HASHAM, YAHAWASHI, and the Israelites. Okay? With the top of that being the elect, okay? First fruits. Joint heirs of the kingdom with YAHAWASHI, okay? That's going to be the next world order. Okay?
Eras rather than a transition of orders, but the two are kind of cousins of one another. The reason I draw the distinction is because I don't think the international order built after 1945 is getting replaced wholesale with some new order. It will obviously evolve as it has evolved multiple times over the...
Right, their inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever. And their pomp and prove what they're saying. He's saying that he basically saying, we're just gonna change we're just gonna change the current order. It's not gonna, the order itself ain't gonna change. It's basically what he's saying. And it's such a blessing to be in this truth, to be able to read right through these devils, man.
The international order built after 1945 is getting replaced wholesale with some new order. It will obviously evolve as it has evolved multiple times over the decades since 1945. But I do think in a more sharp and distinctive way, we are moving into a new era, and that's what I talked about in my remarks, that we are, the post-Cold War era has come to a close. We're at the start of something new. We have the capacity to shape what that looks like, and At the heart of it will be many of the core principles and core institutions of the existing order.
Commentator Luke Rudkowski.
Of the existing order, man. Okay. Wickedness. Isaiah 26:10, let favor be showed to the wicked, yet will he not learn righteousness. In the land of uprightness will he deal unjustly, but will not behold the majesty of the Lord. Okay? So he's not going to learn righteousness. He's going to continue with the same things. Okay? The same core principles of the current order, man. There's nothing but wickedness. Okay? So like it says in Daniel 12, there's going to be a time unlike any other. You know, he's basically saying that the androgynous peoples, the alphabet peoples are here to stay, man. You know, it's technology. Because a lot of these summits, you watch them, they're all about technology, man. How they're going to control the world through technology.
Wrote on X, oh, the Davos Bilderberg members want to create a new world order. Where have I heard that before? Obviously, you know, referring to the what has been labeled the new world order conspiracy theory, which is a conspiracy theory, but we do year after year see these elites, the people who run governments getting together to decide on vast foreign policy and economic matters.
That's part of Psalm 64, right? The secret counsel of the wicked. Okay, except they're putting their plans out there these days, okay? They're also going to talk about, I don't know if it's in this clip, where they talk about how a lot of the meetings were done behind closed doors during this conference. I think it was like 3 days.
And the concern being, does this erode our is this actually democratic? And then at the same time saying democracy is the most important thing, but when you have elites getting together to plan society, is that actually democratic? And is it also a threat to free speech? So we're not talking about this specifically today because I am planning to do a radar on it tomorrow, so viewers can hold me accountable since I'm announcing it ahead of time. I try never to do that. But about specifically the speech implications, there are so many. They did this last year. Brian Stelter moderated a panel on the threat of misinformation. This year, the World Economic Forum ranked misinformation as the #1 global threat above warfare and climate change and pandemics and everything else.
There was another thing that they kept mentioning was climate change. Okay.
Misinformation. And then they were having a panel on it this year. I'm going to talk about that tomorrow. But again, just this, yes, of course, the spread of false information can be a concerning thing. But when they have it in their head that it's misinformation, or so many people do, to just disagree with them or disagree with what their consensus is. And so many times we've seen whether it's Russiagate or whether it's foreign policy or whether it's COVID-related stuff, later the truth is more complicated than what the narrative held to begin with. And a lot of people who are obsessed with the misinformation topic really want, especially in Europe, want to empower new European speech bureaucrats to be able to police that and look to the U.S. as this kind of outlier because of the First Amendment. Say, yeah, you guys have to figure out that First Amendment. It stops you from censoring all this bad speech. That's really a shame.
Yeah. Well, people will have to.
Well, they're leaving it in the hands of the corporations to do it. Okay, because that's what's coming next is they're going to get rid of free speech. Okay. You could tell with all these social media outlets banning all kinds of accounts, suspending all kinds of accounts. That's been going on for a few years now. So really, if you think about it, they don't even need to change the laws. Okay. They don't need to make new laws, man. They just got to put pressure on the big boys. Okay? To make a giant social media platform costs a lot of money. You ain't getting that kind of money unless you go through them elites.
Return tomorrow to tune in for that radar, which Robbie has absolutely promised to write and cannot renege on.
All right, so Davos elites, and we'll just go into a couple of clips. We're not going to go into the clips. We're going to read the titles. Davos elites hate free speech. WEF attacks populism as anti-science. Right, because science is the new god, right? But they like to attack that populism, man. Okay? Populism happens when the people are oppressed and they had enough. Okay? That's why we went into Proverbs 29 and 2. Lincoln affirms blank check to Israel at WF as Bibi privately snubs Biden. Okay? Yeah, this is the only guy who talks about Trump, really. Elon Musk slams satanic ESG. World Economic Forum's infamous "Oh Nothing, Be Happy" deleted. Right, trying to hide it. Trying to hide it, man. They speak loftily concerning oppression. This is Psalm 73 and 3. For I was envious of the foolish when I saw the prosperity of the wicked. Okay? For there are no bands in their death, but their strength is firm. And that's what the keynote was for this year was they got to trust each other and they got to come together. Okay? Basically, New World Order. You know, they know that their time is short. Okay, so they got to come together and protect that order from being shaken up. Too much information coming out. But see, there's going to be a heavenly intervention that you can't stop, nor can you prepare for it, because the heavenly intervention controls you at the end of the day, man. Okay. That's why these Christians are so silly when it comes to this free will shit. Okay, because if there was free will, that whole conference would have been steamrolled, man. And those elites would have been fucking hanging. Okay, they are not in trouble as other men, neither are they plagued like other men, and they speak with the pomp, man. All right, their posterity approve what they're saying, just like we went into. He thinks his way of life is supposed to be how you live. Okay, except he's gonna control all the parameters in that life. Therefore, pride compasseth them about as a chain, violence covereth them as a garment. Okay, their eyes stand out with fatness; they have more than heart could wish, and because of that, they think that they have the right to tell you how to fucking live, man. That they know what's best for you. That they're going to tell you what's real information and what's fake information. They are corrupt and speak wickedly concerning oppression. They speak loftily. Okay? And that's what they do, man. Right? You call them satanic and they lose their minds even though they are. You know? But with that, I believe I proved the point. Lord willing, I'll have some follow-ups. When I get into some of these longer clips, I just got to find the right timestamps. But till next time, shalom.